Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Be There in 5 podcast. I'm Kate Kennedy, your host. And this week is just me here. And we're going to meander through some recent goings on, pop culture news, favorite segment of mine this week, and people hate women. Because there's a few conversations happening about like Olivia Rodrigo, Alex Cooper, Taylor Swift, a few other items we'll get to. But first I want to get to something very important that I really believe in, that or rather don't believe in. There was a kind of viral clip going around this week that a lot of people were stitching and commenting on that like delighted me to my core and is the very reason I poured this Aperol Spritz next to me. Not only is it Friday evening, there is a piece of discourse happening right now. And I love like recursive inception, like discourse about the discourse about the discourse. I sometimes when they're like these passing trends, people like overstitch. I'm like, I'm good. I'll sit this one out. But this is actually something I feel so strongly about. So this week, Stephen Bartlett, host of Diary of a CEO, one of the biggest podcasts in the world. He's the kind of guy that like perpetuates a lot of this self-optimization culture, wellness culture. He tracks everything. He probably knows his resting heart rate at any given minute. Like there was this quote that a lot of people were stitching and responding to where he basically said a couple glasses of wine ruined the next like 3 days of his life.
Where you don't understand the hidden cost until you really give it up for a while. And I think about my own relationship with drinking, and I stopped drinking at 30 years old. I'm now 33. And I had just drank because I just drank. I'd never ran the experiment of just giving it up for a while. And then like, I don't know, maybe I was at 31. I thought, I'll have a drink again. Because now I could really A/B test it. I had a year of not drinking, decided to have a drink again. It ruined 3 days of my life. I had a couple of glasses of wine, didn't get drunk. It ruined 3 days of my life because of the domino effect it caused. So it meant that I got worse sleep that night. And then because I got worse sleep that night, I ate more poorly the next day because my dopamine system or whatever, the cortisol system was all messed up. Resilience, yeah. And then I podcasted worse. I didn't go to the gym the day after, that day or the day after because of that, because I felt really bad. I then slept worse, and I could track all of this on my week. #ad, #sponsor, #investor, whatever. Hey. Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, those 3 glasses of wine had this hidden domino effect that
I don't even think it's about him or that clip as much as it, like, I think served as a conversation we've been needing to have for a while, which is people's level of general fatigue with optimization culture and with tech bros like him that are forever evangelizing, performance tracking everything you do outside of work, making your regular life feel like work, therefore robbing yourself of joy. Now, as women, we were taught to do this, I don't know, day 2, out the womb. I'm not sure when I first realized I should change everything about myself and always be self-improving to hold any value or worth as a human. But it was early on. We are not new to the idea of looks maxing, for example. What the looks maxing is so frustrating. Like some Twitch streamer invented altering your physical appearance to appeal to a particular gaze. Like, what? No one's arguing that like sleep and stress and hydration or whatever the hell else and like not drinking too much are like those are good things. But like, I think this was the straw that broke the camel's habit tracker, because it's like all of these things eventually get absorbed into systems of self-surveillance, of self-optimization. And you know this about me, if you've ever heard me talk about being a water truther, which is that I think there's some weird conspiracy going on for why people feel the need to drink it's too much water. And I've tried to be that person. I even had a water bottle app at one point. Like, I want to be a well-hydrated person, but I also don't want to waterboard myself into the oblivion to the point where I can no longer enjoy life. When people are drinking gallons, I'm just like, dang, you don't mind frequenting a public restroom. What I think is so interesting and ironic about people like him is like, okay, so it ruined 3 days of your life, but what you're not saying is it actually ruined 3 days of your life. It negatively affected your sleep, your gym routine, your maybe energy level of focus, your productivity at work. Like, sure, your performance was affected for 3 days, but did going out with friends and having a couple glasses of wine actually ruin your life? No, it ruined the metrics that you have convinced yourself make for a life worth living, make for you being a valuable human, when the actual experiences that give us joy, that give us connection, that really support the infrastructure of, I think, our mental and physical health in terms of our nervous systems taking a load off and being able to look eye to eye with another person and share in our human experience. Like, Jesus Christ. The message, whether it involves alcohol or not, I think what people heard was, if I don't perform optimally, those days are ruined. And the backlash wasn't, wine isn't that bad for you. It was, we are tired. We are tired of every single aspect of our existence being tracked, being monitored, being surveilled, to hit your step goal, to hit your protein target, these fucking aura rings, man. I have no, the way that I sleep or like my body temp, like these things are none of my business. They are none of my business. Like, seeing so many people stitch and respond to this was so interesting to me.
Optimization culture has gone too far, and it is spiritually killing us. Stephen Bartlett posted a video that he had a few glasses of wine, and it ruined the next 3 days of his life. His sleep score was off, he ate poorly, and couldn't go to the gym. Now take it from me, a reformed optimizer. I logged my activity for 3 years straight. When I woke, what I drank, whether I exercised. I tally this up at the end of the year. But for what? A moral superiority that I drank less or that I exercised 5.5 days a week? We need a 90 sleep score, 10,000 steps a day, a bed cooled to 68 degrees, 6 miles on Strava, all for us to be better at sending emails or talking on a podcast. We have gummies for sleep, supplements for stress, nicotine for focus, all done for the promise of a better, happier self. We've been optimizing for years, yet somehow we are more isolated, more anxious, and less happy. So maybe what we need is 3 glasses of wine with our friends, a conversation of economically unproductive laughs, and a slice at 2 a.m. Maybe we need to sleep in a day, miss the gym, so that we can remember what it feels like to feel both dead and alive. Because ultimately life is felt through contrast. We have surrendered ourselves to the tyranny of measurement and forgotten what it means to live.
I think the reason this went viral is because, like, you're describing, a couple glasses of wine is ruining 3 days of your life. Not because it like actually did, but because it ruined all the metrics and variables you track and promote on your program that really just ultimately profit tech bros and don't really amount to much as it relates to our actual wellness, because what this is constantly doing is heightening our anxiety, our illusion of control, and like our neuroses by thinking that every single variable of our life outside of work needs to be measured and quantified as if it's like a performance review. Like you're the middle manager of your own life. We're supposed to be the leading ladies of our own lives, to quote Arthur Abbott, The Holiday, 2006, not the middle managers of our own lives. And this is why I don't believe in aura rings. And maybe some of the more joyful elements of life are slightly inconvenient. Maybe sometimes we stay up too late talking to somebody, or we have 3 glasses of wine with a friend and we're like slightly hungover the next day. Maybe we do a light 4 a.m. puke just to be preventative. I don't know. The backlash wasn't about alcohol. It was about this like fatigue I think so many of us have with evaluating every single morsel of our existence through the lens of self-optimization, of productivity, and of performance. When you're tracking your sleep and your steps and your cycle, your water, your mood, your workouts, like sure, it's a steady stream of data about yourself that maybe improves your lifestyle, but it also is like surveillance capitalism, that your behavior gets harvested. Here's a detailed record of my private behavior that you can capture and sell, click wrapped in some way that I don't really know what it's actually being used for, like weird right-wing people suspiciously involved with cycle trackers. There's not even always a conscious recognition, I don't think, of treating the optimization of your existence in the name of wellness, when it actually is just producing value for somebody else, making you more anxious, providing the illusion of control when you don't really have any, and ultimately waterboarding yourself into the ground where you are sloshing around your own body, because who needs to drink that much water every day? I don't get it. I never will. A life optimized solely around performance can be incredibly joyless. And it's okay if you don't want to wake up at 5 a.m. It's okay not to cold plunge. It's okay to want to like go to work and leave work and not treat every element of your personal life as like another performance review. It's good to like have friends and have conversations where you're not like watching your watch. We need to read books without meeting a Goodreads goal. So many of the most joyful parts of life are slow and they're inconvenient. And I think that like the influence of guys like Stephen Bartlett, like, these bro types that are obsessed with this stuff, that have so many high performing podcasts because people want to self-improve. They want a semblance of control in a society that has many aspects now that feel out of our control, whether financially, globally, economically. Lord knows millennials' financial futures and social safety nets are non-existent. Like there's a lot of uncertainty that we deal with as human beings in our personal lives and in a broader existential sense. And I don't fault wanting control and the idea of wanting to be your best self. But when you're so fine tuned that a couple glasses of wine can throw you on for 3 days, like isn't this stuff supposed to make you stronger? Like, are you a Fabergé egg? Are you my spirit after one negative internet comment? Like, why are you so fragile? Like, shouldn't all of this optimization and like engineering your existence around like performance make it so like your system can be thrown off here and there? And you know what? Like, there's something like kind of uniquely pathetic about that to me that shows precisely why most of this stuff is bullshit. I listen, I'm a person that has always expected I would one day wake up as elegant future me, this like woman with a different life. And some days she plagues me, and how you know, I'm 38 going on 39. We're going into middle age territory. I'm here. Have I arrived? I don't know. I don't feel like I am the person I thought I'd be. And this, of course, bothers me some days more than others. In fact, postpartum has like plagued me that I didn't feel like I fit the bill of where I thought I'd be in life by the time I became a mom, and how much I hate still feeling like a work in progress. And I think it's okay to feel that way. And I think it's good to always want to be bettering ourselves, for people around us, or, like, sure. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with a quest to be better, to do better, to change and evolve. Like, I think that's a great thing. But I do think that you have to realize at a point where the optimization efforts are essentially a tax paid to a person that doesn't exist, that may never exist. And the debt you'll feel to that person by always like clinging to them, holding on to them, resenting them, and like not letting yourself evolve into the person you were meant to become, because that's where your life led you. And this person was a fantasy to begin with. You know what I mean? And there's sociologist, economist, something guy, last name Goodhart. It's called Goodhart's principle. When a measure becomes a target, it stops being a good measure. Like, if your step count's replacing the walk, if your Duolingo streak is replacing the practice of actually like learning a new language, and if it's not about feeling rested, but like your sleep score, we need to reassess. And by reassess, I mean we need to stop looking and digging deep. Ultimately, I just, if you optimize the number but lose the experience, I think that is where we need to draw a line. And I'm not saying this as a person that has your best interest in mind, but as a mom who drinks wine. We all know there's nothing worse than a mom who drinks wine. Can you imagine? A wine mom? Like, do we feel like that even was a bit harsh? Like, sorry, my nervous system's a bit shot after a long day at work when I then have somebody shouting to me about their diecast Ford Focus. Like, I sometimes it's hard for me to shift focus. And the thing I haven't wanted to tell you guys for years now, as everybody got more sober curious than me, is that I'm a wine mom, and I don't know what to do about it. I still like wine. There are few things in life that bring me more joy than a 2 to 3 drink night with a gal pal, sharing our hopes, dreams, fears, and regrets. It's not like a problematic social lubricant to me as much as it's a means to hydroplane into our feelings and care for one another after we spin out. And I like to fancy myself a drinker in a way that's like European and not sad. Who the hell knows? Regardless, this isn't about me. All I wanted to say to you is that you're not failing if you're not performing at your like peak every day. Sometimes the best parts of life are pretty inconvenient, and don't track so much of your existence that it becomes more about the number than the experience the number was about, Anyway, all for now. Be good, but not well. This episode is brought to you by ButcherBox, and I, for one, am excited because grilling season is here. And do I have a grill? No, of course not. But I love when people grill out. I love cookouts. I love barbecues. I like when people smoke meats. I'm an indoor cat who likes her meats outside, and I believe in the great American tradition of hospitality, of safety, of community that is implied when somebody's like, offers to throw a burger on the grill for you. It's electric, but it feels low stakes because it wasn't that much extra labor to add one for you. But at the same time, the kind of culinary theatrics of tending to the fire, swatting away the fly. I'm in an ad. Oh my God. Sorry. But what I was going to say is, while I love the ritual regardless, I do think the quality of the meat makes a big difference. And ButcherBox just always has the highest quality meat. It's like the best way to just like always have meat on hand. If we don't want to like micro measure our protein intake, it's nice to just know we've got some in the freezer. And ButcherBox delivers premium, responsibly sourced meat right to your door. So you're starting with the good stuff every time. And you can show up to your grill with confidence with their burgers, their ground beef, their steaks. I personally can't get excited over grilled chicken, but I know some people can, and this is the place to go. Grilling season is like the perfect time to upgrade how you shop for meat. And instead of making last-minute grocery runs and hoping for the best, ButcherBox keeps you stocked with high-quality options year-round, so you're all set when it's time to grill. They deliver over 100 premium protein options straight to your door, from grass-fed beef to wild-caught seafood. It's all raised and sourced the right way. No antibiotics, no added hormones, no fillers, clean, reliable protein. And they're so nice to have on hand for a quick weeknight dinner or a full we can cook out. And it's super flexible. You can customize your box based on what you're cooking, and it ships free with recipes, grilling tips, exclusive deals, you name it. Whether you're a beginner or a grill master, you've got everything you need to make it a great season. And as an exclusive offer, new listeners can get their choice between free sirloin tips, ground beef, or chicken wings in every box for life, plus $20 off when you go to butcherbox.com/BeThereIn5. That's right, your choice of free sirloin tips, ground beef, or chicken wings in every box for life, plus $20 off your first box and free shipping always. That's butcherbox.com/BeThereIn5. Don't forget to use our link so they know we sent you. This episode is brought to you by Caraway, and I love my Caraway pots and pans, bakeware. They've really got it all, and in gorgeous colorways. And listen, I don't like, she's so much more than just beautiful, so I shouldn't focus on that, because functionally, I mean, we've got ceramic coating. The surface means minimal oil and butter for like slide off the pan eggs, just food that slides off like butter, that you didn't have to use a lot of butter to get it to slide off. And they're so easy to clean, among other things. But also, like, I don't know, my pots and pans are black with gold hardware. They're gorgeous. You don't see a lot of pots and pans out there with gold hardware. And I get excited to like make stuff in them, kind of in the same way you feel excited about an outfit, or an outfit would incentivize you to leave your house. I'm not into cooking, except for when I can like master really specific recipes. And this newer black and gold set of pots and pans I've got just really, I don't know, gave me a pep in my step to get in the kitchen where I belong. Just kidding. But I am really into trying to make simpler like sauces right now. Have you ever heard of it, simmering? I like to make Marcella Hazan's, famous tomato sauce. It's like an onion and a half, a stick of butter, and San Marzano tomatoes. And it's like crazy when you wait and watch and don't over season it. The flavors like develop, and it's a really beautiful sauce that almost requires nothing. And I say that because I think I wasn't doing a lot of like slow cooking, simmering type things because of bits sticking to bottoms of pans. And when I tell you I get anxiety about things that stick to pans and the cleaning process involved, in fear of like scratching them. Anyway, this is just an aside of something that bothers me that I don't deal with Caraway, and I appreciate them for it. I appreciate them for like motivating me to want to cook more through their beautiful products. They also have bakeware in the most beautiful colors. I might send some to Kelly for her birthday. She loves to bake, and she would love like a whimsy colorway. And also, that's a test, Gal. See if you're listening. They have really good storage solutions in general for like how to store their pots and pans, from the colors to their storage solutions to the organization. It just makes for like a very beautiful, calm kitchen environment in all the best ways. It makes me feel set up for success for the times I do host and cannot outdoor grill for my guests because I do not have one. Caraway's in over 2.5 million homes, and over 155,000 people have rated 5 stars about their Caraway kitchen. Now it's time to try it for yourself. Right now, you can save up to $230 on the 12-piece cookware set versus buying the products individually. Plus, if you want to include their fan favorite minis duo, you can save up to $350. Visit carawayhome.com/BTIF10 to take an additional 10% off using code BTIF10 on your next purchase. This deal is exclusive for our listeners, so visit carawayhome.com/BTIF10 or use code BTIF10 at checkout. Hi, I'm back. It's now several hours later. Post Spritz, I'm eating a bowl of strawberries because you asked. But what was I doing? Oh. Do you guys feel like fruit hasn't been sweet since 96? Like, what's going on? Obviously, when you have a kid, your lifestyle becomes more berry forward. And they're pricey. Sometimes they're good. I understand, sometimes they're in season, others not. But I do feel like the roulette associated with just trying to eat blueberries is quite shocking. And when you eat sour candy, your buds know what they're getting into. Anymore, with these berries, we're operating on a spectrum of a sugar-coated gumdrop to a warhead. And you never know what you're going to get. But in general, I find fruit... sorry, I just had flashbacks to Red Delicious. I'm not going to get too far into this. But I just wanted to say that, like, as a person who I guess maybe is still kind of newer to fruit, given my like allergies for a lot of my life, I couldn't have more to say about it. And it's really expensive. It's just really inconsistent. But I keep buying it. It's like, it's just gambling. I feel like I've got my eye on fruit, if you know what I mean. I don't even know what I mean. And relevant to today's conversation, I mean, the thing about fruit is that, like, it is such a victim of modern optimization culture. We talked about what apples go through, the way Red Delicious has just been completely sidelined in favor of the manufactured juiciness that is the F2 golden doodle of apples, Honeycrisps. And if that's a compliment or an insult, you'll never know. Quite frankly, it's neither. It's just my surprise at how apples are like actively bred, and how the ones that are bred from that combo and not from their origin apples, kind of like F2 golden doodles. Anyway, I was reading about the modern blueberry It says it's optimized for thick skin, firmness, uniform appearance, like looking like the other blueberries, uh, to be photogenic. What? And to survive a truck across the country. That's honestly kind of the criteria for what how you can succeed in today's like influencer economy. You gotta have thick skin to make it through. You do well if you look like everybody else. Being firm, young, keeping it tight, good stuff. Photogenic and like taking a cross country road trip? Are you kidding? RV content always performs. That's interesting. And I can sense all of you out there being like, oh my God, they're not in season. She wore shoulder pads to the beach. Like, I know. I did look this up. And last weekend I was trying to figure out because like, is knowing when stuff's in season a thing you're just supposed to like know as a person? Like, did you know that? Because I feel like whenever people say that to me, I'm like, I get it, but like, how do you know that? Like, if you don't garden, um, is it like a never eat soggy waffles thing? Ernie gave bird dead fish. Like, do we have a mnemonic device? Like, I didn't know. So then I started to like try to create my own, but it wasn't really working because it was kind of hard. Because I had in the spring we've got apricots. Sorry, you guys gonna turn this off? Don't turn it off. I'm gonna get to hot topics soon. But in case you need a mnemonic device for when fruits are in season, news you can use. Like in the spring we have strawberries, apricots, rhubarbs. Like I care. Get out of here. Like what? Mangoes, pineapples. Then summer, we have watermelon, peaches, cherries, raspberries, blueberries. There's like a long list. Okay, so everybody grab a pen. Here's what I came up with. Very intuitive, very easy to learn. I'm definitely not reading directly off my notepad because I still have yet to memorize this because it is not helpful. In fact, it's more information to learn. But in case you're interested, starting with spring, we have a mnemonic device to help you remember what's in season. It goes, suns always ruin my picnic. Why please can't rascals behave? After party, go find calm or get lost, kind children. And what that stands for, starting with spring, is strawberries, apricots, rhubarb, mango, pineapple, watermelon, peaches, cherries, raspberries, blueberries, apples, pears, grapes, figs, cranberries, oranges, grapefruit, lemons, kiwis, clementines. Now, is it clear where the break is and the season cuts off and the next one starts? Not really. Not really. I mean, they are 4 separate sentences. Suns always ruin my picnic. Why please can't rascals behave? After party, go find calm or get lost, kind children. Like, I think it really has a ring to it. And, I don't know if I'm going to be able to remember the device. And if I did, I don't know if I'd be able to correlate the letters back to their respective fruits because, like cranberries and clementines both start with a C, as do cherries. It's very, very tricky, guys. And different berries thrive in different seasons. I don't know. But blueberry season is coming up. I guess I'll report back to you how the, roulette of will they, won't they be warhead tart or gumdrop delightful. Like it's just, it's crazy to me how expensive they are and how they're just always so sour or so uninteresting. And I just think as a kid, I remember blueberries being like big and juicy and amazing. And that might be my nostalgia talking. But I also often think about how like, how once in a blue moon, like as often as Hail Bop comes around, you'll bite into a plum and it's the best goddamn thing you've ever had. But plums have a shelf life of like a day. They bruise easily. They don't travel well. I am allergic to stone fruit. So I ate them when I was like really little before the allergy got worse. And I haven't really tried them in a long time. But I often like think about the feeling of eating a delicious plum and how rare it felt. And I guess I'm curious if you plum heads out there feel the same. I gotta move on. I'm so sorry. But like I like mnemonic devices. I was a never eat soggy waffles, but I feel like whenever I say that, people are like, what? Never eat shredded wheat. Soggy waffles was always catchier to me. But I feel like some of the lesser known ones that are helpful are like Hums, which are the Great Lakes, Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior. We love PEMDAS. But also in a post-Pluto society, did you know it's my very educated mother just served us noodles for Mars, Venus? Oh my God, I forgot. Oh my God, Earth. It's like, well, mine starts with E. Mars, Venus, Earth, Mercury, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. My very educated mother just served us noodles. I really think that's useful. And that's what I guess the kids learn now, in case you're wondering. And in other outer space related news, something I was talking about with my family, / I was expecting a much bigger reaction. I guess they already knew this. I don't know how this didn't cross my desk, but the term Martian, like, or I think of Marvin the Martian, or like in 90s movies when somebody like didn't really fit in, they'd be like, you're like a Martian. It's kind of a 90s word, but I thought a Martian was a general alien. Like I thought a Martian was almost akin to the term human in terms of like, human on Earth, Martian out in sky. and that it was interchangeable with like, an extraterrestrial being. But it's not. It's like a Martian is to Mars as an American is to America. A Martian. They are from Mars. Isn't that interesting? Did you guys know that? I really do feel like the way it registered in collective consciousness was more about Martians being generalized aliens. And I think that it's crazy this whole time. I wasn't realizing they were specialized to a planet. And I don't know what made me put that together. I mean, I did love the movie The Martian, and he was on Mars. So that's interesting. But yeah, there's something, I was doing something like 2 weeks ago where this like clicked for me. And I've been telling everybody who's been saying, yeah, duh. And isn't it so weird how you can go your whole life without having a thought that was obvious to everybody else? Never ceases to amaze me. But that's it for today's segment. If news you can use, I would love to be like a produced radio show with segments. I think that'd be fun. Never forget, sons always ruin my picnic. Why please can't rascals behave? After party, go find calm or get lost, kind children. So what's on the docket, gang? Let me go to my note. Courtney and I have a shared note that we add to. And, then it kind of accumulates by the time I get to these episodes, which I was saying in the DZ Discovery Zone one, like I am trying to get back to a more like losers shoot the shit format for at least like an episode a month. To combat what I call comment section Stockholm syndrome, where you have to like think like them to survive. I'm trying to do at least one episode a month. It's like lighter, fun, kind of original BTI 5. So yeah, I haven't over prepared anything, but I have a list of things that I think are interesting. One, of course, being berry culture. Where am I going? Where is this? And yeah, upon looking back at this, I'm like, did I write that? Well, examples being, who is Jenny Craig? Which I did not answer and I cannot look up right now. So that was fruitful. Home decor that is fake spilled food. Now, I do love this topic. My mom for like 30 years has had a cracked egg in the corner of the kitchen that's moved everywhere they have. Every time I'm like, ew. It gets you. Growing up, there was also a plate of spaghetti we had with like the fork like stuck high and the spaghetti like vertical. And I thought it was a good time. And it's glazed in a way that looks delicious. And I love seeing a fake spilled latte at a quirky gift shop in Colonial Williamsburg. I don't know. I again don't have a ton to say about it, but I just wanted to bring up that I really do support fake spilled food. And I wonder if millennials are keeping that tradition alive in the way boomers did. Because I can't say I've ever been to a friend's home, much like a stately mantle clock or grandfather clock. There are things that I fear we aren't carrying into our homes that are going to be forced into obsolescence. And I did a whole episode about this called Airbud, HEIR Bud. I am interested in how millennials build and layer and create more lived in homes with actual furniture. We are a generation that is marked by like wanting flexibility, needing like a level of portability for moving more, like our delayed milestones and like moving away from our home centers, which maybe affected your ability to get hand-me-downs. And beyond that, we're in an era of like fast shipping and fast furniture and have homes filled with like particle board and things we assembled ourselves. Like, I don't think there was a thing in my house growing up that my parents assembled themselves. Like, they had furniture that like furniture people built, I'm sure there's a name for a furniture builder. What is that called? A carpenter? No, that's what Jesus was, right? And Aiden from Sex and the City. Very similar. Is it a furniture builder? Like, who builds a dresser? Ugh, you can't talk back to me. I actually loved that episode. That was such a funny one because I was on vacation with Kelly and she was going through a really bad breakup at the time, which I probably didn't tell you in real time. And it was like bad. And on the particular day I had to record it because another recording fell through. I had to do it last minute. So on vacation, I had to spend the full day like figuring out an episode. I was kind of stressed and didn't realize she was like going through it at the pool. And it was like this crazy situation where there was like a new person involved very quickly and who reached out to her. It was like the most dramatic day imaginable. And poor thing was like going through it. But I was like, I'll be there soon. I have to work. I was like really stressed. You would think I was doing like hard hitting breaking news. Like I was in full journalist mode, like can't be bothered, hold up getting this episode done. And then I think she was surprised when the episode came out and it was about mostly grandfather clocks. And I missed, her existential crisis and being there as a supportive sister in favor of trying to figure out why more millennials aren't hoarding heirlooms the same way others are. And I believe it was a plug for the gig economy of like rare repair, because apparently there's like 2 grandfather clock guys in the country. You have to like wait months, if not years, to get your grandfather clock repaired because they're almost like obsolete. And I guess they're so large, like people don't want them. And I mean, I have so many thoughts, but I do think that our millennials and our lifestyles, whether moving away from home and therefore not is, easily getting hand-me-downs from parents that had like real furniture made by Jesus or Aiden, or just the need for like flexibility and portability, not wanting like huge clunky furniture, paired with just being in an era where we have fast furniture. Like I used to go to rug stores with my parents, and I used to hate running errands, but I liked going to rug stores because you could jump on them and they were like different size piles. It was kind of like being in Super Mario Brothers. And they would spend like months looking for the perfect rug that was an ornate design, that would hide stains, that was hand tufted and all this stuff. They were so expensive. And like to this day, like my brother has them now. They're like 30-plus-year-old rugs. And the quality is kind of crazy, but spending that much on a rug is kind of inconceivable to me. But it's like not at all when you consider how many rugs I've bought going apartment to apartment, house to house. And how like crazy it is that we're a generation that has something they didn't, which is I could right now place an order for like a screen printed rug of some kind that would be here tomorrow between 7 a.m. and 11 a.m., And I think the fast furniture of it all is an interesting conversation as it relates to heirlooms and stuff, and our house's ability to look like lived in and layered, paired with the difficulty of how many sources of like aspiration and inspiration we see all the time of other people's houses. Like you used to just have to like look in windows or magazines, but now I know how cute everyone's home is, and keep thinking as I get older, like I'm obviously going to be that elegant woman one day, and like I never am. Like I said earlier, at what point am I just going to have the cute lifestyle I'm destined for? It's just not happening. And IDK, we don't need to get into that. Sons always ruin my picnic. Why, please, can't rascals behave? Another thing on my list: digging a hole to China. Do you guys believe? Do kids still believe that? I remember being on the beach as a kid and thinking I would be able to like show up in a sewer in Shanghai. Did you guys believe that? That's just like a nostalgic thing that popped in my head that I did never frame of reference for other people, and or if it's still alive and well. And if not, tell your kids. Fun game at the beach to get them to dig a hole, like the book Holes, which is weirdly about the troubled teen industry and not a very good topic. It's, especially after Paris Hilton exposed her traumatic experience and all that comes along with it. And we don't need to revisit Holes at this juncture. You know what I think is so funny / so trolling / my worst nightmare / greatest delight, that I think says so much about the human disposition in terms of how your personality shows up in it, is how those sports cams put the camera on somebody and then show their lookalike. And it's like, bro, I know our hair's frizzy today, but you're going to put up DD Pickles? Like, who is doing that? Like, show your face. I mean, so many of them are like fine. I mean, if you do have any sort of colored hair, you are going to be like Margot Robbie, Suicide Squad, whatever. What's her name? Harley Quinn. If you have a bold lip and a harsh brow and long dark hair, you're Morticia Adams. Pigtails, automatic Tuesday. Like there are tried and true, seemingly industry-wide lookalike things people do. If you're like bald and kind of like a stockier fella, you're going to get Kevin from The Office, and the Kevins are never happy, but it is what it is. However, sometimes they go for like cartoon characters, and I'm like, just because he has a mustache isn't giving Lorax. I don't think this is helping his cause. I think he's on a date. As normal humans, I think a lot of us have experienced this thing where someone tells us you look like somebody, and then you're like not that excited about it, or it's a famous person you don't think you look like at all, or whatever. And that's already hard as it is for people that are like, fine looking, just maybe not your goal. But to actively compare you to like kind of a wonky, exaggerated cartoon character, when not everyone's being caricatured, they're just actively choosing to DD Pickles you. I don't know. It doesn't always sit right with me. But I also think it's like a little bit funny. And I also just think that like somebody needs to like interview these guys, hear about their strategy. They need to show their face. If you're going to dish it out, you got to take it. And I think there should be some sort of, hot ones where all of the stadium dudes that troll the people come out and we tell them what they look like while they eat wings or something. I don't know. Oh my gosh. Keke Palmer, Sean Evans, the chemistry. Very random. I always get very hungry watching Hot Ones, but Sean Evans having a crush on Keke Palmer is like such delightful Hot Ones lore. And I really do like watching Hot Ones, and he's such a good question asker. But yeah, I mean, I guess with our Butcher Box lifetime of chicken wings, we can maybe do our own. But I would embarrass myself so profoundly on that show by how um, low of a threshold I have to heat. It kind of astounds me how many people are good at it, but I guess you wouldn't even go on that show unless you were good at it. We need to think of a different version for people that can't do hot wings, and a different version that is not for famous people, that is just for normals who want to eat and answer questions. I don't know. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, if we're doing segments this week, this is a segment I'm calling This Week in People Hate Women, where every single week, really, it seems like the internet locates a woman and, decides there's some element of womanhood she's just doing incorrectly. And everyone sits down and reviews the evidence and reveals their verdict, oftentimes for a headline or story they didn't even consent to being a part of. And what I think is really interesting about two pieces of discourse, Olivia Rodrigo and involving Alex Cooper, is like Olivia wearing this baby doll dress and people like talking about her dressing like a little girl in like a way that like sexualizes the dress, but also suggests it's only for a little girl and like being punished for like reaching backward to girlhood. While Alex Cooper announced her pregnancy and like the, MAGA. And did you guys see that article? It's like so embarrassing. It's like, shut up. You're a virgin who can't drive. Like, I don't even know how to insult somebody of this caliber, because it's kind of the MAGA camp. It was an article on the Free Press that like my heart skipped a beat when I first saw it, because it's by someone named Kara Kennedy, which is like it looks like my name, when I don't have my contacts in. But it is an article called When Sluts Settle Down. And same week, we also had a very strange conversation about Olivia Rodrigo wearing a baby doll dress and people like sexualizing it, but also saying like it was meant for little girls. It was like very weird. And I was like, how interesting, these two things colliding, where one woman is being accused of sliding too far backward into girlhood, and the other is being accused of stepping forward where they perceive a former, I guess, to quote Kara, slut does not belong. Like, sorry, what? Do you know how babies are made, girly girl? You got to be a bit of a slut to be a mom. I mean, what are you going to do? I just be like, who are you? Like, I, for some reason, whenever I can't think of an insult to say to somebody, what pops in my head is you're a virgin who can't drive. Because I remember thinking, whew, Ty, whoa. Like, I thought that insult was like way, way below the belt on Clueless. But now that I think about it, it's like, yeah, that's what I was for most of high school too. Like, it's just these people are such a drag, and they're anti-seed oil and they're anti-fun. And they like say this in the name of like protecting women and protecting the family. But I think a lot of these people, like, I'm sorry, you're a birth rate truther who can't get a second date. You're no fun. You're mean. You're trying to make a woman repent for the very thing you claim to want for all women. You're claiming that a person with multiple sexual partners who's spoken publicly about sex and sexuality isn't eligible to be a mother. I'm so tired of this type of person that is probably doing it for the very type of like rage bait reasons that make me even talk about it now. But it was like this type of energy toward Alex Cooper and toward this like baby doll dress that I'm like, what is wrong with people? Is it all the beef tallow contributing to the herd mentality of the things that just don't make any sense? It's like insanity. This episode is brought to you by Like What I Be and Water Truthers. Rise up. If you want to have a product that hydrates you faster than water alone, have I got the solution for you? Because Liquid IV, just one stick in 16 ounces of water, hydrates faster than water alone. Powered by LIV Hydroscience, it's an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. And I often get the example, like I always take this on planes. I love the tear and the pour, and I just feel like helps keep me like hydrated and my vitamins and nutrients when I'm kind of feeling depleted. Liquid IV reminds me of like the portable charger pack I put on my phone. I feel like it's that to me. It's like I can travel with it. I just stick it on when I need more juice. I just tear, pour, and enjoy. And I like kind of watch myself slowly be brought back to life. And the thing about summers is that they require, yes, superior hydration, but also whimsy. And I know people here love nostalgia, and there's nothing more nostalgic than a juicy, tart flavor of a cherry ring pop. Liquid IV has a new hydration multiplier, sugar-free, that's inspired by the ring pop cherry, bursting with flavor and tart cherry and hydration. And I'm sure it's like sweet and delightful, unlike real cherries, at least from my grocery store. Depends our conversation earlier. But sugar-free comes in a variety of flavors like white peach, rainbow sherbet, strawberry watermelon, so much more. And it's like not like a gimmicky wellness product. It's backed by a scientific advisory board with real experts and real science. And who doesn't want to taste a cherry ring pop and get hydrated and brought back to life all the same? So don't forget to explore the delicious sugar-free options and say yes to unforgettable moments with Liquid IV's new hydration multiplier sugar-free ring pop. Tear, pour, live more. Go to liquidiv.com and get 20% off your first purchase with code BeThereIn5 at checkout. That's 20% off your first purchase with code BeThereIn5 at liquidiv.com. This episode is brought to you by Quince. And guys, I've recently made many a purchase at Quince with my own money. I can tell you exactly what I bought, but I think I remain surprised that I'm such a sweater girly. And I just have become a person that uses sweaters like I used to use sweatshirts. So even though I'm here to tell you more about like linen, I will say their cashmere has really been working for me. And I recently bought even more sweaters despite it being summer. I got a like boxy fisherman's cardigan in like a nautical stripe. And people really like their jeans. And I recently bought a barrel jean I really like there. And the jury's still out for me on barrel jeans because they are a trendier piece. I don't see them standing the test of time, but this is why I only want to spend $50 on them. And they have like gorgeous jeans for $50. And I also recently did a big push for their sunglasses because I lose sunglasses a lot. I don't want to overspend. So their sunglasses are often like 2 for $75, but they have some of the most sturdy, beautiful, like light brown, kind of almost grayish tortoise that I really like that I don't always see everywhere. I also have like a gorgeous olive green. I'm very into green sunglasses right now, but they were on my head when I was trying to paddleboard at my parents' house and I kept wiping out. They're somewhere in the Albemarle Sound. May they rest. I think they're sold out now, but that's okay. There's lots of other things to pick from. And Quince makes it easy to refresh your every day this spring with pieces that feel as good as they look and use premium materials like 100% European linen, organic cotton, ultra soft denim. I feel like they're just as known for their linen as they are their cashmere. Like they make premium materials like accessible. Their lightweight linen pants, dresses, tops start at just $30 and are breathable and easy to wear on repeat. Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Head to quince.com/BeThereIn5 for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/BeThereIn5 for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/BeThereIn5. That same week, I was getting sort of weird content. It's okay. Are you guys seeing a disproportionate amount of content, like on TikTok specifically, just ripping Meghan Trainor to shreds in ways that like is disproportionate to me? I'm like, is there some sort of foreign operative like trying to divide us, trying to take down Meghan Trainor? She's just one of those people that like I don't know why she would even get someone riled up. Like if your argument is that she kind of makes like generic music or like sounds similar, or you find her new stuff uninspired, like that's fine. That's an opinion about art. But there's a difference between just like not liking art and moving on, or providing like valid criticism of it, and just like dragging her for sport. And I can't, anyways, that's not even what I was talking about, but like, I've been seeing weird content lately from like creators and commentators that almost seems like so off base and unsavory and like unnecessary that it feels contrived, but I don't know like by who or what it would be for. And and I feel like I can tell when people are AI by the teeth or the fingers, but who the hell knows? I was, as many of us were, tricked by those bunnies on that trampoline, and ever since I've questioned my sanity. There is an Amish woman that like a lot of people I know follow on Instagram, and she's fully AI, and she's always just telling you Amish tricks for gut health, and she has more followers than I could ever dream of. So who am I to criticize? And that's such like a random, like who's sitting behind an account thinking, I'm going to make a whole fake universe of a boomer aged Amish lady with a propensity to talk about gut health, bowel movements, and digestion tips from the earth, from minimal technological intervention standpoint. It's like, so are you making money? Like, what is it for? AI personas are so weird to me. Generative AI scares the shit out of me. Basically the headline is Alex Cooper's uber popular podcast instructs women to sleep around when it's been years since it's been years. It's been years. The headline is Alex Cooper's uber popular podcast instructs women to sleep around. When she announced this week that she's expecting a baby with her husband, people got mad. Reading some, I can't believe these people are real. This is the article, When Sluts Settle Down. I mean, it says she opened the trap door and escaped some of the consequences of her lies by doing the very thing she profits from encouraging women not to do: get married and become pregnant right away. wrote Ashley McGuire of the Institute for Family Studies. Those two things are luxuries for young, beautiful, educated, and wealthy women still in their fertile years. But unfortunately for the countless women who follow her advice, when the bill comes, they will have nothing but heartache and regret. What? Alex Cooper's been lying to women. She tells her audience to be promiscuous and have sex with strangers. Meanwhile, she's living the white picket fence dream with a traditional family. Oh, complained of former aide to RFK Jr. named Lauren. Or no, Link Lauren. Interesting name. This article is a lot. And just at one point it's a pull quote from somebody that says, her philosophy and the philosophy of many young women today is use your 20s to party, hook up, give zero rips. Who is this person? Are you 80? And if you find the right person along the way, great. The problem with this, outside of the obvious one, not keeping sex sacred, is that many women get caught up in that lifestyle well into their 30s, wondering what they did wrong, while most men don't want to marry a thought. Anyway, it's like the Olivia and Alex situations are both kind of what I call discourse about the discourse, where it's hard for, if you catch it a little late and miss the origin point, it's hard to tell if there's like a meaningful number of people saying this thing and if everyone like trying to dunk on them and clap back, like it's actually proportionate, or if the dunking and clapping back and talking about the discourse is like more fun than like the baseline discourse itself, and like everyone just kind of like looking for a thing to participate in that day and like to talk shit about and to be outraged by, because like it's insane to be like creepy and gross about this baby doll dress. It's insane to position women who's like sleep with multiple partners in their lives that later want to get married and have kids, that those are like opposing ideals, or like they somehow shouldn't feel permission to enter into motherhood. Like it's so disgusting. It's so off base. It's such an embarrassing take. But I also know it's how like people really do think. I just think there's probably like a select few like small creators that like actually are putting that out there. But that article, the When Sluts Settle Down, like did have legs and take off. So that I think started a lot of conversation. With the Olivia Rodrigo thing with the baby doll dress, I'm like, who actually was saying this? Like, and when you look into like the news articles, they're mostly like about Olivia clapping back at critics, but then it's like I'm drilling down, I'm like, who are the critics? And they're always in the vaguest possible terms, like online criticism or many internet commenters, the online public, and nobody quotes a specific viral post. Nobody names who started it. Nobody like can quantify how big it is. You know what I mean? And I think that like the headline culture of mining for like backlash content and like inflaming something that like wasn't a big deal is so fascinating, because it creates a feigned like concept of polarity, and like everybody's lost their minds. But I'm like, it might have just been like one guy on Twitter. People asked me what I thought about it a couple weeks ago in an Instagram question box, and at the time I was like, I don't really think this is real. And Olivia like responded to it, so I'm sure there's obviously validity in her getting the direct criticism. Like, you know, these people see the craziest shit, and maybe she really did. But, you know, she was pointing out in the New York Times podcast episode she did, like she's gone on stage in a sparkly bra and tiny shorts and like revealing skin out stuff, and like nobody says anything, but how creepy it is to like put her in a dress that covers her from the neck down, basically in a baby silhouette, and to be read as like girlish, like a minor, like. And she said the reaction shows how we like normalize pedophilia in our culture, because like the logic underneath that criticism is the same bullshit we've been fed our whole lives, which is like, you know, I'm paraphrasing, we're responsible for men's behavior. They're not responsible for looking for being inappropriate. We are to control how men look at us by what we wear, and if they don't respond in a way we deem appropriate, it's our fault. We were asking for it. Like, so that the same old conversation. And I appreciate her saying that, because it's rhetoric like we talk about often as grown women. That's nonsense. But if young girls look up to her and heard her say that, I think it's important to realize they aren't responsible for men's behavior. And I also think like if there's no context for some people out there in the ether that a baby doll dress is like not a random choice to look like a child, but like it's very whole Riot Girl 90s. And guys, I didn't know this hideous, like what in the Sims Kardashian, Chloe and Courtney Take Miami with a New York City backdrop is this white Z Gallery shellacked peony laden nonsense? Is that, like, if you just got here and you're watching this video, Actually, if you thought I chose that for my background, maybe we'll check that. This was me in like 2011. This was me buying mini chandeliers at the Z Gallery, and yeah, wanting to be Hollywood Regency. Like I thought that was my aesthetic. I would. I thought that that was like my permanent aesthetic. That I should be investing in my heirlooms. Uh, like everything acrylic, white, shiny, and like tufted. What I like about Ashley Henry Houses of Rhode Island, she reminds me of myself and many other millennials. Like double down and maybe spend a little cash on certain types of furniture, thinking they were more timeless than they are. But like now, too much tufting does feel a little bit 2010s in a way that I hate even saying because it's gross and like landfills are us, and like what you like and keep what you want to keep. But I also like don't really want my chairs anymore that have nail studs in them because it reminds me of this. And I just don't feel like that I'm this person anymore. I think the more interesting thing is like just even revisiting the baby doll dress itself, and maybe that people, yeah, aren't thinking about it having a deeper like pop cultural origin in 90s punk. And I think she said she was channeling like Courtney Love and Kathleen Hanna. And if you feel I feel like the original intent of that kind of, what did they, there was a term for it. Ugh, press coined it in the 90s. But like putting innocence and sexualization like in the same look, it's like a fashion statement meant to uh yield a bit of discomfort, right? The look forces you to notice that you are the one assigning a sexual meaning to a little girl silhouette, and to like sit in why. You know what I mean? When somebody looks at a grown woman in a baby doll dress, in the first place their mind goes is, oh my God, they're sexualizing a child. That's fucked up. It's they're doing they fell for it. Like they're falling into the trap. That's the thing the dress is trying to expose. It's a test of like, where do your eyes go? What are you thinking about? And if you think that it is pedo coded uh, to wear like a floral dress, it's not sexual until a person decides a girlish thing on a woman's body must be. I think subversive fashion like that is kind of meant to, you know, highlight that when people are posing like they're catching a predator, what they're actually doing is illuminating what for them is a reflex. At first I was like, is this conversation even happening? Because what I will say about the baby doll dress thing, like when you look at news sources talking about it, they can't name any point of origin. I'm sure Olivia received like direct criticism. I don't think she would have responded to it on the podcast if she hadn't. If anything, maybe this produced at least a conversation about why that style of dress is meant to make a statement in the first place, why it's pointing out that you're the problem, not her. But a lot of you asked me what I thought about that. And what I think about that is it has interesting origins. And I think that it was a little bit overblown relative to the actual backlash. And all the while, more importantly with O-Rod, that it's like I don't even wasting time on that story is annoying, but it is not a waste of time to talk about 90s punk, even though I don't know, like everything I know about it isn't even from experience as much as it is from like research and going back in time, because pop culture is my job and nostalgia is my job. I wish I was more a part of that movement, but in 94 I was busy in, I don't know, what, like second grade, memorizing lyrics for a play that like about worshiping George Washington. Did you guys do historical plays that just like worshipped founding fathers? Is that a Virginia thing? I should look into it, you guys. I still believe in Johnny Appleseed. I don't know anything. I just learned about Martians, regardless. Rod too. I think her recent music is so outstanding, you guys, and it's worth a listen if you haven't gotten into it. I just want to point out a couple things about it because one, you might think I only talk about Taylor Swift, which is not fair to my very, very broad range of musical interests. Musical interests. But no, I actually like love Olivia Rodrigo's music. I went to her concert. I love Drop Dead because I'm a sucker for a soaring guitar riff at the end, like a Lord's Louvre or even like Fix You type thing. Yeah, I think Drop Dead is like such a fun, girly, silly, falling in love, like hyperbolic song that just the music video is so good and the lyrics are interesting. And I went to get a slice of pizza with Teddy like after it came out. It was like a Friday night, and there was like four girls, two on each Lime scooter that like whooshed by me that were like clearly in high school. and one of them was like playing that out loud on their phone, and like the wind in their hair on like a warm summer evening with their independence on their rented Lime scooters, and the music of their generation, and being able to embody the meaning of that song and the hopefulness and expectations and projections and feminine intuition of just barely knowing somebody and being in their presence and having like all of these grand visions of what could be. But and then she sang a song called Bagged on SNL that was like so beautiful and raw, and like I really liked hearing her kind of vocal quirks and inflections that I think she was like letting happen instead of being over polished. And it was just a really beautiful song, and um made me understand the like bigger picture of the "You Seem So Sad for a Girl in Love" album theme. um but then like out of nowhere she drops this song called The Cure, and this like amazing music video that was like really well made and beautifully done, and everything in it was cardboard, handmade, like, or felt, like from handmade creators. And going into the making of it and finding the people on Instagram is really interesting, because like even her guitar was cardboard. Like it was a totally handmade set of this like hospital, and it's a really cool song. And what I was saying earlier is the thing she's doing that other artists aren't doing in terms of like making a scene rather than like, that's a perfect example of a song that leverages contrast, that's like light until it's heavy, that you have to weather through a song that sounds completely different till you get to the end of the song, which sounds like a completely different song. Like you have to be in it for the long haul, in it for the full song. And instead of songs that are trying to like, you know, play the hook within the first 5 seconds for the sake of catchiness, she's, I really think, trying to like devote herself to the craft of like making more traditional, full rock inspired pop music that has contrast, that builds, that has different parts of the song you can land yourself in and not sound like the other, and that requires you to listen to the full thing for the experience and for the story in a way that you can't get from a soundbite. Because you know how sometimes you think you know a song but you just heard it on TikTok a lot and you like think that's the whole song, and then you listen to the rest of the song and it's not really doing it for you, but the whole thing is just incredible. It's a really good song. But both her and Sabrina Carpenter, I just think are talents for the ages. I mean, they are both child stars. I don't know, and maybe they're good at what they do because they've got that like theater kid level of earnestness and commitment. But I think there's a trend right now of like very mid-tempo, restrained pop music. And even Ariana Grande put out a song this week that I think is like pretty, yeah, relative to like We Can't Be Friends and Yes and, which were kind of her breakout hits of the last album that were so well received. This just falls so flat to me. The message is weird. Yeah, I haven't even listened to it twice because I didn't want to. So maybe I shouldn't give a take, and it needs to grow on me, because I know music is meant to be like metabolized. But it wasn't packing a punch. And I also did like Gracie Abrams' song. What's it? I'm a Slipknot. What is it? I was so deeply uninterested in her, and I felt like every time she was brought out at the Eras Tour, I was like, Taylor Swift, we're here to see you. Like, why are we singing Gracie Abrams songs? And I used to get really annoyed by it. I think I said it on here, and it made people mad. But I then was served a lot of her like concert footage when she was touring, and I fell in love with the song I Told You Things, and the theatrics of how she sung it on stage. And I think the way that super emotional songs come to life on stage, when you can like feel the texture of the song and hear their emotional inflections that would get polished away in a recording, it helps me understand songs better that I didn't like before. And I think her live vocals are interesting, even if they're not the strongest. They're really strong at the way they evoke the emotion behind the song, as if the thing just happened, for songs she sings constantly, which I think is cool. In general, I'm just interested in a person with a torso that looks like that, and how like that's a thing a human can have, and it's just like theirs, and like that's just is what it is. And she like claims she doesn't really have an ab routine, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm not objectifying women's bodies or anything. I just, those are abs. And I do think there's a point in life where you're like, oh, I'm not going to have abs. Like, don't you? I think there's a small part of me that always kind of like the future me. It's like I always assumed, oh, well, surely at some point I'll experience abs. I think I can formally say I do not think that is in the cards for me in this life, and that's okay. Abs for me aren't really about strength. They're not really about anything for me other than like, I think they'd be fun in context. But when I'm like in my kitchen when I'm like going on like neighborhood walks or, in my studio or kitchen or writing, it's like, I don't need abs for that. If an ab is there and no one sees it, does it count? Like, do I need them if I'm not wearing midriff bearing tops? And this is another thing I shouldn't admit to you guys. I only ever wanted to be in shape to look good in clothes. I don't care about strength or health. Okay. I need to move on. You built this cage, lost color in my face. Hi, this is Kate from the Beyond. I'm just, I forgot to like cut in some music because I wanted you to hear what I was talking about. So this is in my cozy earth pajamas. Can I just say that I didn't realize when I signed up for a Spotify video that meant everyone would be pushed the video, even against your will. You can't. There's a setting you can like maybe toggle off on the back end. I'm hoping your phone is locked. Whatever you're doing, dear listener, I do not care. I'm just glad you're here. But it's like right now I'm standing like a preacher in my hotel room wearing pajamas, having to film a segment. Yeah, what a journey this job has been. Completely changing from the one I signed up for. But we're going to evolve and we're going to make it work. And do I think anybody needs to watch a person talk to themselves on video? Of course not. But I'm here. And I love you. Okay, so for Drop Dead, I just wanted you to make sure. I just want to make sure everyone's like clear on this guitar riff, because this is what I saw the gals on the Lime scooter, just like living their best life to. Excited for their generation to have a great healer. Like we had Kelly Clarkson, Since You've Been Gone. We had, All Too Well. Like Beyonce's Irreplaceable got me through a lot of breakups. Honestly, if my heart of hearts, if I was going to be honest with you, I give my flowers to Pink's You in Your Hand. Did I disassociate on a swing set a few times after getting unceremoniously dumped in college? Thinking that really stuck it to him in my, fantasy version of whatever party I was envisioning that I was going to go to, and really show him what he was missing. For Drop Dead, it makes me feel whimsy and like takes me back to a place of butterflies, of where you, come across somebody for a night in a bathroom line. You barely know anything about them. I love the lyric about chewing gum, and you're like world building around a version of them that isn't even reality. The magic of knowing someone so little, you can project absolutely everything you ever hoped and dreamt onto them. And even the bridge, like building with like Pisces and like using their astrology, like that's so sweet, and it so works with this song that's building this world of like a person who just has the highest hopes and is in a really romantic moment. And I think it's a really good song. It's a cacophony. It's got a lot going on. But what I love about Olivia Rodrigo is her songs are loud. Her songs build. We don't Antonoff blue ball. We go for it. And the most important thing about Olivia Rodrigo's music relative to optimization culture that I wanted to make sure we highlighted, not even to force connective tissue, but I think that this really matters and inspires me creatively too, because what she's doing is not what a lot of people are doing right now. With the attention spans we have and with the performance metrics artists need to like succeed for their labels to support, like it's too much playing the game. You have to write the hook. Olivia Rodrigo is really trusting her audience to spend time with the music, listen to it in full, and appreciate the bigger picture more than the individual strokes. Because her lyrics, I don't find like you cherry pick them. They're not like genius, mind-blowing, like super complicated. They're more so, like I said, like world building, really descriptive. And once you get through the song, you're like taken through an experience. And I think The Cure is like a really good example of this. And I'm going to play a guy reacting to The Cure because I think his voice over the music will maybe help not get it flagged so quickly. I don't know anything about him personally, but he does a lot of reaction videos. It's at HT Hayes Reactions. Anyways, this is how I felt about the song.
Oh, come on. Let's go! Dude, this is like Paramore, dude. Low key. Oh. Whoa! Hey! Oh, and the vocals start going off in these just different directions, like they're actually unraveling. Yo! Hey!
There's every incentive in the world right now to like optimize for sound bites. And I think when you drop yourself into the cure, the beginning sounds different from the middle, sounds different from the end. And the payoff takes a while, but it's a longer song. And it's such a good payoff that it's going to force you to sit and listen to the full thing. And I really love people going against the grain in a world that just requires us to forego quality and to put out slop if slop means eyeballs, if slop means gamifying the algorithm, if slop means clip farming every fucking word of your podcast. Just, like, I do not want my face super soaked across the internet saying weird sentences out of context. Or do I? I don't know. We'll talk later. I think at the end I should just start saying random ass semi-quotable things that a bot, a clip farmer, whoever the hell, I don't even know who out there is doing this, would pick up as being interesting and that 2 million people would like. Because when I tell you I'm shocked and horrified at the stuff that performs in the space of like inspiration, it's like somebody being like, I'm not bossy, I'm a boss. 2 million likes, 2 million. I'm like, this woman just said comparison is the thief of joy. Like she made it up. And it's just hundreds of thousands of followers overnight. I'm like, it's like the most shockingly generic stuff that's like slightly bent to the person to like maybe make it their own, or I don't know. It's like, it is a very hard thing to figure out how to please the algorithm. And my podcasting friends and I, like, this is all we talk about. Like nobody can figure out like what we should be doing anymore. And everything's about clips and everyone's watching clips, but like nobody actually watches the podcast behind the clips, and the podcast downloads are how you get paid, not the clips. So anyways, so it's this interesting thing of like doing more labor and burning out to get yourself visibility in a place you don't even make money. And this is what these companies do to us. Anyway, point being, I noticed that the clips that do well, people are in like a chair and looking the other direction. And they're like, the most powerful thing my mentor ever told me, don't count your chickens before they biohack. And then it's like, pew, in the comments. Explosion. It's like, what? Not all who wander are lost, you know? Maybe they're just looking for parking. What? That's not the saying. You know what I mean? It's like, or it's something so generic that's like, healing isn't linear. It's like, no shit, Sherlock. What? There's no original thoughts, but I have to play the game. So I'm just going to say stuff that could easily get clipped that people will like at the end of episodes. So prepare for that segment coming forward. And then you're just going to hear me say like, hustle to your haters, ask if you're hiring. I don't know. But I have to be convincing. Like, men should totally have podcasts. I want to hear more about the effects of magnesium, you know? But like I always say, if they wanted to, they would. But if they could, they already did, and they didn't, so they probably won't. Yeah. That's the stuff. As women, we need to remember that no is a complete sentence. And let me check my calendar is a dangling modifier. I wanted to put my own spin on it, but I didn't like that. Anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this snorkel. I wasn't actually trying to focus on optimization, but weirdly, everything we talked about kind of fit in that lane. Because whether it's like Olivia's music, not being like optimized for TikTok necessarily, or having the hook in the first 5 seconds, felt like a really interesting kind of artistic take on optimization culture for me. I think everybody has their own version of like an aura ring. They're like held to in a sense that has a finger on the pulse of the thing that they care the most about, and feel inundated with data about that thing as if all of that knowledge should help you find solutions or pull levers to improve outcomes meaningfully, when knowing everything and having all the data doesn't make it clear on what variables are going to most improve things. You know everything, but you don't always know how to like change things. And I think like sitting in the reality of like all the stuff you need to fix without the solutions yet, and like throwing stuff against the wall and it not working and not seeing the data, like that to me is a cage, lost color in my face. Like that is a purgatory of a collapsing between who you are and your value as a person and your performance against whatever metrics you're looking at, whether it's biometric, career, or otherwise. And I think it's a really slippery slope. And I think it's one that's really gotten me into dark places in recent years. And I have to, like, it's a muscle that needs to be exercised. Like, have to consciously, actively remind myself. And that, yeah, the thing I don't know, I'm not always trying to, like, maybe it's because I'm standing like a youth pastor. The itsy bitsy spider. It went off the water spout. Lord God, down came the rain. My bit from 3 years ago. I do love youth pastor talk. But no, in all seriousness, it's like, and, but the thing I wanted to say was like what I didn't get across earlier, it's not that like tracking bad, free spirits, good. Like I'm type B, I'm chill. I don't, track my cycle or my steps or my water, and I'm better than you. That's not what I mean. We all have like our own form of metrics that we live, breathe, die by. Like we are in a very data-backed world where we know way too much about any given thing that we care about. And I think for me, it's like living in a like purgatory of too many numbers about my show, but that collapses to not how did my show perform, but do people like me? Am I interesting? Am I funny? Am I smart? Like it's a job where there's very little distance between the person and the product, and that's not healthy either, because just like health data, like it's good to have a finger on the pulse of like what's going on to make strategic decisions. But sometimes I feel like, yeah, more isn't more. And the more I know and the less clear I feel about solutions, the more of a failure I feel like for problems that were created by the data that I didn't even know I had. And while I can't relate in a sense of like tracking a lot of stuff that like is popular now, when I was researching like what are people like paying attention to these? It's like sleep scores, recovery scores, HRV, blood glucose, gut health, protein intake, steps, VO2 max, meditation streaks. Like I was like, wait, what? Half that stuff I was like, well, I don't even know what you're talking about. But beyond that, it's like, the apps themselves or the wellness things themselves. But like also when you think through kind of the like theme there, it's pretty interesting, because millennial optimization like isn't new. Like hustle grind girl boss era, like I was a big optimizer. I'm still a big optimizer in a lot of ways, just not with like health and wellness specifically, but like Gia Tolentino, if you've read Trick Mirror, like wrote an outstanding chapter about this as it relates to like women and self-improvement and bar classes and Sweet Green and like kind of the new year on the corner vibe that is, the spice of life, to treat ourselves as there's got to be a better way, and to think we're always that close to improvement. It's interesting to think about how like that version of hustle and grinding and optimizing, and like working so much and firing off on all cylinders and outsourcing everything, and like also optimizing like our bodies and going to bar class and Sweet Green, and like it's a really good chapter in Trick Mirror. But I was thinking about how that was like so much more extrinsic. Like a lot of the motivation behind that style of hustle has to do with like how it socially presents, right? It's like not as internal as it is now. Like, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like being, female entrepreneur and like going to the things and doing the talks and wearing the athleisure around town and going to the classes and, the WeWorks and going to the co-working spaces, and just like obviously being this person that was like working so hard, doing the most, crushing it at work. Like, I just feel like a lot of the metrics then that people aspired to were visible, were social, were vanity based, and just really focused on working yourself into the ground at any cost as being like the most noble, like virtuous thing. And I think this is really interesting and perhaps darker and harder for people, because it's if you're working toward a goal that's like aspirational and social, you don't really have a lot of control how other people feel about you, but you can try your best. What's happening now is it moved inward. Like it's like cellular. It's not about how you look and how you present to the world. It's about your glucose, your why do I want to know my biological age if it's different than like my literal age? Like what are we doing with that information? I don't know. Like to be treating your cortisol, your gut, your HRV, your sleep architecture like I treated my doormat business truly makes me want to die and feel so bad for people and makes me want to like scream to like stop, to focus on what matters, what moves the needle with your health meaningfully, but to not let yourself serve as another source of competition to where your entire existence can never be at rest, can never be at peace, because you have to beat the version of yourself yesterday. And you know so much about yourself that, and you now know too much about yourself that the analytics are impossible not to perform. And it's, yeah, the goal really changed from like visibility and aspiration to like control. And I think it makes sense given the chaos of the 2020s, the uncertainty of COVID. Like, I think we can all see these like very obvious, sociological, psychological shifts, the uncertainty and how different the world is now is manifested as like our own anxiety. And I think in feeling kind of robbed of some of our core years, whether it's the pandemic or millennials delayed milestones, it's freaking us out to get older because we didn't feel like we got to like live out our youth in the most like optimal way. And that's an important thing I should qualify. Some people like it. Some people love data. Some people want to be organized. They want to know everything. It's a game. Like, you don't take it personally. You don't feel like a failure. There's no right or wrong, good or bad. There is this serving you or not? You know what I mean? And I think we don't all take inventory of that enough, because it seems like keeping track of like health and wellness is like the most noble thing you could be doing. But there is a point where I think it's too much information. I think it's kind of similar to how I feel about parenting advice and how people script out like the most micro interactions you have with your child. And it makes me like want to leave the room and Google how I should be responding to my own kid, birthed from my own flesh. I'm like, the volume of information I'm surrounded with is treating me to not only not trust my own instincts, but I can't always hear them anymore, because I want to know the best thing to say, the right thing to say, the optimal thing to say. You know what I mean? And I think that it just makes everything less intuitive. It makes everything psychologically taxing. Like you have to look something up I don't know. You know what I mean? Just if measurement's continuous, judgment's continuous. And self-improvement and filling that gap is going to be continuous. And when are we allowed to be fine? And when are we allowed to be at rest? And yeah, I don't know, you guys. I just think the Steven video, well, relative to this like broader conversation, maybe wasn't that serious, but I just think when this stuff starts to like interrupt you having fun with friends or a few glasses of wine, if you like wine, like that's where we go from like casual information monitoring to like compulsion, And I think that it's interesting seeing people kind of burn out and participate in like this current version of hustle culture in the way that I did in the last one, which arguably was more about like how you present. It was more social, it was more aspiration based. Like I was like hustling and grinding in the 2010s because I wanted to like become somebody. And I almost think we like optimized everything to the point where the body is like the last frontier of the thing we can optimize. It's like, no, it bypasses you as a person. And we're just looking at like biometric markers of our flesh. And there's something to me that like, I understand that relates to like our well-being and health and longevity and whatever, but it also completely forgoes your spirit, your soul, your personality, the value you bring to the world. It makes you a product with parts and not a person. And anyways, love you guys. Happy Sunday. Take a rest. Don't optimize your life away today. Do something wildly inconvenient. Have fun, laugh, get drunk, see if I care. Like I always say, progress over perfection. Could you clip that? As always, let me know your thoughts and I'll let you know mine. I'll be there in 5, I swear.